A warm welcome to A Nurse's Lift to Work with Tina and Kate, coaching podcast by two healthcare professionals. We are friends, we are nurses, master NLP coaches, hypnotherapists, parents and business owners. We are busy people juggling many things just like you.
You are in for a treat. We will chat about informal coaching tips, coping strategies, and how to effectively change your mindset and have some fun along the way. So, hop on board with us for A Nurse's Lift to Work. Hello, welcome to A Nurse's Lift to Work with me, Tina.
And I'm Kate. And today we have a very special guest with us, Heidi. Welcome. Please introduce yourselves to all our listeners.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining to tune in. My name's Heidi.
Heidi, it's really great having you here to talk to us today. Our nurses listen to this podcast, so what can they usefully know about how to work with somebody who is on the autistic spectrum? How does it feel from your point of view?
All these things that it's so hard to, seeing these. Sometimes people do not know how to deal with a person with a learning disability or autism. They feel scared. I've had a couple recently of webinars that I've done, and both consecutive weeks I had the same question, and the fact, how do you deal without being, and I said, you talk to them just as you would normally talk to another person. Maybe they need the what you're being said to them maybe needs to be rephrased in some way, but there's no need to feel that you're scared, because at the end of the day you're trying to help them, and they want you to help them so they can have better healthcare. With the light bulb moment, so you get a lot of as well, like resistance, not just like being scared, but resistant. I've had a couple myself, people in healthcare that haven't treated me right, and they made me feel patronized, and no one should feel patronized, and anyway, it's a right, part of the Equality Act, and that people have reasonable adjustments to, and it's important that people do that. They could be anything from having the light switches altered, or dimming the lights, or and it's important to ask, and to actually ask, is this okay for you? Or for example, I from my experience, I feel I've had difficulty with touch, and the fact that asking the person, is it okay to touch you, does that hurt, sort of thing, and you want them to listen, it's your job to listen to them and do what they say, because it's important, because you need that sort of they know that expectation.
Do you, Heidi, just out of interest, do you have you always been able to communicate your needs and what you want to health professionals, or has there been a point where you were too afraid to, for want of a better word?
Well, much better than I used to be, because years ago I found it really difficult expressing my needs, but since I've been doing, I think I have a lot of confidence, like, to do the job that I do, I feel like if I feel that something's not right, I say it, because if you don't say it, how things gonna help. But I spent many years masking how I felt, because of the fear of people not understanding and don't want to listen, don't want to interact with me. Actually, all I want is you to have a decent conversation with me. Maybe you may need to change how you say things, like I said earlier, but actually, or adjust, make those reasonable adjustments.
Because it reminds me a little bit, Heidi, of working with people who are living with dementia, because there's a stage for those people where their understanding of the world can change. And I've seen people speak far too quickly, explain things really, really quickly, and you can see, the person thinking, I don't know if I understand everything you said, can you slow down? So sometimes it doesn't have to be a complicated thing, does it? I imagine, to help someone with a neurodiversity, learning disability, or even like dementia, something like that, to communicate well. I think that's what I'm hearing a bit about what you're saying, is communicating well.
Yeah. And to be aware that you could be part of that environment, and that how you conduct yourself, and the fact that you need to take that in consideration, because it may be something that you're doing that's upsetting the patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are such a role model for other people with a neurodiverse background who perhaps think, oh, I can't do this but actually you are living proof that you can.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. When people say to me, oh, autism or ADHD or being neurodiverse, you grow out of it. You don't grow out of it, you grow into it. You learn to deal what's right for you, and it's a condition, not a disorder. You live with it. It's like having diabetes. You learn to deal with that, with the diagnosis, and you sort of like, you find ways to cope.
On that note, when you've had a crazy day, how do you what keeps you going? How do you deal with that? What's your management strategy? What do you do?
Well, when I've had like when I've been working, or I absolutely, I live on it, sort of like I live on the fact that I've making a difference, and the fact that I feel passionate of what I do. Obviously, um, I'm much better managing now than I first started. I got really tired and really like, sort of that. But actually now I do 2 a month, so that's enough for me at the moment. Plus, I'm doing tier 1 webinars as well, which are on a regular basis. So it all works out for me, and I enjoy it.
Amazing. And do you, those moments when you perhaps get frustrated, want to scream into a pillow, how do you keep your cool?
What? At the
Like
train?
if you're like, oh,
I just think, I just sort of like think, oh well, if it, yeah, it's difficult because you've got to remain professional, and it's sort of like you can't. Yeah, you say you've got to sort of have that discussion as though that's it's not right, and and sort of like, can't you see? Can't you see what I'm saying is true, or can you see from my perspective, sort of thing. I know that sounds very, but inside inside you sort of feel, oh, that frustration sometimes.
Mm. Yeah, it's quite a skill, isn't it, to keep you cool and take a moment and think how you're going to respond to somebody. But I bet there will be a lot of people in your sessions and listening to this today being really curious about practical things that they can do to make it better,
Yeah.
like nurses particularly. So have you got sort of some top tips, Heidi, for
Just to like I said earlier, communicate with someone on a reasonable level. Like we're all taught, we're all, you know, human beings. We have some concept of understanding, and the fact that you don't, yeah, a lot of people seem to think that people with learning disabilities or autism are not able to comprehend. Some people aren't, and you know, it depends on the individual, and it's important that you're led by the individual as well, and the fact that they might identify themselves as an autistic person or an Aspie or of that sort of thing, and the fact that it is important that you mirror the language that the person your patient is, because otherwise you know, you could get it wrong. But I'm not saying it's wrong to get it wrong. What I'm saying is that we make mistakes, and it is perfectly you know, perfectly natural to us to making mistakes. All you have to say is I'm sorry, or something on the lines of I'm sorry to upset you. I'll remember next time, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that acknowledgement goes quite a long way as well. I mean, just before you came on, Tina and I had a brief conversation about communication and how actually taking ownership of what you've said and apologizing if you've you know, if you've put your foot in your mouth and just been like, I'm really sorry. I do think that goes an awful long way, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think that it's a level of respect as well, and the fact you know, as I said, you know, we get stuff wrong, and you know, people are different, and and it's important you treat individual, and as well for some people, you know, they when they go to appointments, they take people with them, and the fact that the doctor or nurse or whoever that are with them directly talk to the carer rather than the person when it's the person's appointment, and then the triangle of care, and the fact that, you know, if you want a person to be able to contribute to the appointment, you would ask, and instead of like just saying, oh, would you mind if I had a word with your person you're with, or you know, that sort of thing, really.
This is so interesting, Heidi, isn't it? Because two things come to mind for me. One is back in the history of time when a woman would have to take her husband into appointments with her because solicitors and other important people, bank managers, would only speak to the husband. So, you know, imagine a woman nowadays thinking that was okay. So that kind of makes me think that hope for the future, that there'll be a time ahead of us when nobody thinks it's okay to speak to the carer, not the person themselves. And also there's a lady, I don't know if you've come across her, she's called Nina Tame. I'll put her in the show notes for anyone listening. And she's on Instagram, and she's a disability wheelchair user, disability advocate. And she gets really mad at people who try and push her wheelchair. So she self-propels herself around. And she said, some people just come up, they go, oh, let me help you. And they just take hold of her wheelchair and try and push her across the road or whatever. So sometimes I don't even think I wanted to go across the road. So what she says is she would never, these are my legs, these wheels are my legs. So you wouldn't grab a person by the hips and start walking them. You know, don't intrude like that. So it's kind of really made me think about all that sort of stuff, really.
Yeah. And it's important as well that, for me, I've had in the past, I had an appointment with a health person, and I went along rocked up to the appointment, and they asked me, said to me, "Oh, where's your carer?" And I said, "What do you mean, where's your carer?" And she said, "Oh, I don't feel that I confident that I could um do an appointment with you because you haven't got a carer." And I thought that's wrong, and I really got really upset and frustrated with them and saying that I'm more than capable to come to an appointment on my own. I don't need full support like that. And they sort of like, I ended up walking out the appointment in the end because it was just felt so patronized, and it was like hard enough to go to the doctors anyway. Especially like from the moment you ring up to the doctors, and sort of like um they don't seem to give you a face-to-face appointment, which should be a reasonable adjustment because some people can't need that sort of the body language and the sort of atmosphere for them to really open up how they feel.
Yeah.
But that's a really interesting point, and not something that I would ever consider really, because face-to-face appointment, or I should say telephone appointments now, especially with the GP, we kind of take for granted that you're going to have a telephone call and then you might, if you're lucky, have a face-to-face. That's not something I would ever have considered from a body language point of view. Thank you, Heidi, for raising my awareness of that and the importance of body language.
And important in so many ways, isn't it? Because I think that the statistic is somewhat of almost 75% of our understanding of what someone is saying to us, communicating to us, is not the words, it's the body language that goes with the words. So you can say the words, "I really care." And if the whole of your body language looks like you're trying to walk out the door, then that's not saying "I really care." So I think that's, like Kate said, something really interesting about how much will be picked up between two people actually physically in a room together.
Yeah. And it's making that connection because you're sort of like putting your life in their hands. And obviously, I'm fortunate enough to be able to self-advocate where some people struggle. That's when, the hospital passports come in, and the fact that they're important documents, and that highlight all the triggers, like how they want to be communicated with, and all these different elements. And it's important that people do these passports because then it can be an aid or a sort of a stepping stone to getting better outcomes. And the fact that that the person is sort of like treated a bit more better than without one, because they have that sort of heads up sort of thing to treatment, and it is important.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say, so we have quite a lot of newly qualified nurses listening to this. So I'm just going to explain for those people that don't know, there is a document, a booklet, which it comes different names. It might be called an All About Me booklet. It can be called something else. But essentially what it is, as Heidi's said, is a passport to that person. What they like, what they don't like, how many sugars they have in their tea or coffee, how they like to be spoken to, everything you need to know. And this should be available in every clinical area for you to use. And it's designed to be completed either by the patient or their relative, a combination of both, so we know them intimately to be able to provide the best personalised, because that's it, isn't it? It's personalised care that we can possibly do. If your area doesn't have one, ask for one. Find out where they are, find out where you can get them from.
Mm. Mm. And if you're seeing new patients and clients, ask if they've got one. That would be a great starting place for a conversation. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, about how things can change for people, Heidi. I think sometimes if they're rushed or people imagine they're rushed. I was with a lady the other day talking about something, and she has a neurological condition, and has no speech. She can't use her voice at all, and so she communicates via a little pad, and she can type into it, but of course then the pad talks to you, if you get the drift. So that all takes quite a bit of time, and I had to give a lot longer time than I normally would, because she had to be given the time she needed to respond. But it was such a rich, brilliant conversation. And I think we've saved time in the future, because I now know her better and I know what she prefers. But often what I see in clinical areas is staff feeling they haven't got the time to just take 5-10 more minutes and have a bit more of an in-depth conversation. Does that come up when you're doing your training?
Yeah, and we talk a lot about processing time, and so that could be in the fact that people may need extra time, like you said, and sort of like some people tend to come in, like myself, like rock up to the appointment and sort of they take it in stages, and the fact that, oh, I've got to the appointment, I've got to go here, I've got to, that's how I sort of deal with life. I've got to go to appointment, I've got to deal with this person, that person. If that goes wrong, that puts me back for another step. Then all these different things. But it's important that processing time is taken into consideration, because everybody processes information differently, and the fact that it, like I said earlier about the reasonable adjustments, it's important that that's put in the consideration as well, due to some people take longer than others. Like, it could be a week or a couple of weeks, maybe say if you had another appointment with them, say, oh, I've got another, I'll have another, we'll talk again, or we'll have a set of time and have an appointment in 2 weeks or something. And then sort of and give you stuff to think about.
That sounds good. Yeah. That was such a great explanation. Now, earlier, Heidi, I mentioned that you were award winning. So can you share what you won your award for? Because I'm really proud of you, and I know you're very proud.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the end of last year, I got nominated for the Neurodiverse Advocate Award from the 12 awards, which is a new set of awards that are being given to different individuals. And I was nominated and got to the finals for the Neurodiverse Advocate Award, and the award which I got awarded for my contributions to neurodiversity and how to make a difference for people, which is great.
Amazing. You must feel so chuffed.
Oh yeah, my trophy's pride of place.
Oh, and it's
Even though they got my name wrong, but never mind.
Oh no! Did they say it wrong, or they put it wrong on the award?
They put it wrong on the award, but they're meant to be sorting it out.
Right.
You are such an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Certainly not only to me and other nurses out there for educating us, but to everybody, perhaps those people that think I can't. You are living proof that you can.
Mm.
And it's the changes. It's, if you want to make a change, you are the person making the change, and that's brilliant.
So Heidi, you're working quite hard. What do you do on your days off?
I enjoy going to the theatre. That's one of my special interests.
Musical theatre.
Yes.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Are you one of these that sings along?
Yeah.
What's your favourite one then, Heidi?
Oh, I'll be here for a number of time talking about that. I'll be on forever. My top three are Billy Elliot, and I like The Sound of Music, and I like Les Miserables.
They're
Fabulous
quite
choices.
classical ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, bit of musical.
Oh, and Mary Poppins as well.
Oh, there's so much now, isn't there? It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
I've got tickets with my family to see Mamma Mia this year in London, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah.
I do love a bit of musical theatre. I just feel like it brings a bit of joy to the life.
Yeah.
And an escape from reality, which is what we all kind of need, don't we, really, sometimes?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a bit of musical theatre. What else do you get up to?
I do lots of different stuff every week. So yeah, I hang out with friends. Yeah, quite a lot of different things. I like watching Strictly when it's on. I like I sort of like put it in my calendar, like Strictly Dancing on Ice, all the Britain's Got Talent, all these different shows I put in my calendar for the year.
Yeah, that seems a really good plan. I'm enjoying The Traitors at the moment. That's my guilty pleasure at the moment. The Traitors is on in the UK. I know it's we have listeners from all over the place, Heidi, but here in the United Kingdom, The Traitors is on. So I'm enjoying that. What are you enjoying just now, Kate?
Oh, you know what? I don't watch an awful lot of telly, but I do like a bit of Pointless. I do like a bit of Pointless, and I'm a bit of a sucker for stuff on the Discovery Channel and the History Channel. I know, right? I'm watching a lot of stuff about airports at the moment. Yeah, Airport Dubai. That's what Chris and I watch.
Oh, that sounds really good.
But conversely, I do like a musical, but I have to watch them like on my own when the children aren't home. So you can often find me watching a Disney film, singing along, with nobody else in the house but me and the cats.
Sounds pretty perfect to me. Heidi, we're going to let you go soon, but just before we do, is there anything else you wanted to say to our listeners?
No, but thank you for letting me come along and talk about my experiences. It's been a really great experience, and I hope it will help somebody somewhere.
Do you know what, Heidi? I absolutely think lots of people are going to listen to this and get an awful lot out of what you've shared with us. So thank you so much for taking your time.
So Heidi, you're working quite hard. What do you do on your days off?
People who might not have got to the Oliver McGowan training yet.
So Heidi, you're working quite hard. What do you do on your days off?
You've been listening to A Nurse's Lift to Work with Kate and Tina. Please remember, this is not a replacement for medical treatment or help, so do seek assistance if you need to.
Thank you for joining us. Please do like, subscribe, give us stars, like and share with your friends and colleagues. All the good things.